Welcome back to Sawyer's Farm, and whoever doesn't know, my name's Jacob. And today's video, we are going to be doing a little bit of talking and a little bit of working at the same time. We kind of wanted to address a question we got back, maybe like a month ago. And I think this person has probably asked this question to a lot of other channels because we've watched some and it was kind of the same exact question. So we thought we may put our 2 cents in. But the one question was, what would you do if the feed stores closed? And it just kind of, I guess, gets you thinking. If you're, practicing animal husbandry, that's something you probably should just, at least have a game plan. A plan A, maybe a plan B. You don't have to go through the whole alphabet, but it's something you probably should just consider to have something on hand for that instance. You don't have to be like a doomsday prepper or anything, but it's something to just have at least an idea. And so that's going to go into our first kind of thing that we're honestly been doing way before even thinking about this. And it's what we're doing today. We're in the goat pasture right now, and we're going to be clearing some trees out. If y'all have watched our previous videos, we've been doing that a lot with the cedars. But I wanted to kind of jump off of where we've been and get into the goat pasture and do some more strategic clearing, because I'll show you right here. Right back here we have it's called a chinkapin oak. I've never heard of that type of oak tree, but we had a game warden come over to our house and we were talking to him, and he says that chinkapin oak is really, really good for deer, and it's really good for goats. It's a lot sweeter acorn than a red oak. Red oaks, I guess, are a little bit on the bitter side, but a chinkapin oak is really sweet, and I'll say that is correct because I've eaten them and they are very sweet. It's almost like candy, especially to the deer. So I've seen a couple of them around here in the goat pasture, and we have some other oaks and some good trees in here, but they're getting, as you can tell right here, this cedar that we're about to cut down, it's gonna start taking away nutrients, and the whole reason why we're doing this is to make sure that this tree right here thrives and produces a lot of acorns, because that will give us free food at a certain period of time in the year for our goats. And we've been trying to do this. This has kind of been our plan, just making our land more just beneficial for our animals, for the wildlife. And so that's the first thing that we've been doing this for a while now. It just takes time. But that's one thing you can kind of do if the store's closed, is try to look at what nature actually has for your land. Everyone's land is different. Our farm's going to be different from other people's farms. This is just kind of what we can do here on our farm. And so we're trying to clear out the bad trees, keep the good ones so they can produce for our animals, and we get pretty much free feed. And right now this is good to do just when there's not like the stores don't close, or the stores close. It helps with less feed. So that's one thing you can do. But right now, let's get on. We're going to start clearing some of these trees out, and we'll just kind of talk throughout the video on some of the things that we do. For a smaller diameter man. Alright y'all, so got a couple trees cut down over here next to this chinkapin oak. You can tell it opened it up a lot more. It's going to get a lot more sunlight. I took a couple little saplings down, and just a little bit the more trees I take down, just the more water it'll get. So this should be thriving a little bit better next year. I know things take time, but you know, we got to chip at this slowly, but at one point it will get where we're at. I will come back and kind of clean up the area, but I'm kind of going to let the goats just kind of eat all the little kind of bristles that are on the cedar trees. Let them do whatever they want with it, and then we'll come back and make a little brush pile and stuff like that. But it'll give the goats to eat something a little bit different than what they're been getting, because there's no a lot of leaves and stuff on here. So, but we're going to go up to some other trees in this pasture over here in the woods. And we'll talk about some other points that we would do if the feed stores closed down. So another thing that we do would probably be the biggest thing would we would downsize our animals, especially our rabbits. Now the thing you have to think about with this is how many do you need? How many people are you trying to feed? Stuff like that. I mean, we have like with bucks probably like 21 rabbits. I don't think we would necessarily need that many to, self-sustain us and probably, my family and other people. So we would definitely downsize the animals, because you have to feed all them. If you don't have the feed, in the sense, the stores are closed, downsizing them is probably the biggest factor in all of this. Is just figuring out how much you think you need and picking that and getting that number and having it for that. So that's going to be one of the things that we would do, is downsize the animals, so we knew that we would be able to properly feed them and not have too many. So right now I'm going to cut down some more trees. I think I got some oaks here, some smaller ones. I'm not the best at identifying trees, but these trees are better than these cedars that are around them, and they're smaller, and these cedars are going to kill them. So I want to save as many trees in here that aren't cedars. So let's get to it. All right, so some other things to think about, and if the stores are closed, one thing that we do is mainly all of our animals, most all animals, they kind of eat grass and everything. So you got to really think about like hay, kind of baling your own hay. We don't really have the ability to bale our own hay here on our property. Our property's in a sense not big enough, even if we had a baler, to kind of bale it. So one thing we've kind of thought about, we do have a little thing you can a little push mower where you can kind of get the grass clippings, and a scythe. You can use a scythe to kind of get some grass for, say, our rabbits, and you can kind of harvest grass somewhat that way. So a lot of this stuff, you just got to look at your property and what you can do with it. If you have the ability to bale your own hay, that will be a big factor in a lot of this, because a lot of the animals would pretty much have to eat hay other than what you can kind of maybe find out in the woods. Another thing that we would do is probably have a lot bigger garden and different types of gardens, because we probably try to plant more for animals, for our consumption and for the animals' consumption. So kind of having certain seeds that you can kind of put in strictly for animals, that would be a good thing to do. So like I said, we're on our property are pretty limited to being, in a self-sufficient, like completely not have to get anything outside for our animals, just because our property's not big enough to, in a sense, sustain, to get hay, to get everything we're gonna need for, a whole entire year. So I know it's not a long, something you can do forever, but you got to be able to look at it. If you're in this type of situation, what can I do in my situation? And so one thing that also we do is we like to buy a lot of our feed in bulk. It's always cheaper that way. We've always bought it in bulk just because it's cheaper, but you don't have to go to the feed store, and you can have months upon months of feed and hay. So that's something to consider. Maybe having a little bit more stockpile of feed and hay. Hay can last a couple of years if you keep it dry, keep it in a good place. It's not just bad the next year. You can still use it. It doesn't have probably as much nutrients in it, but it still has something in it. So that's something that we do. Have a little bit more hay than probably you need. You always want to have extra. So getting stuff in bulk, it's not a long-term thing that you can do, but at least it would give you maybe enough to get you through one winter, and to give you more establishment of getting certain things in order to do. Another thing you can think about is other people around you, your neighbors. I don't know if you have good or bad neighbors, but my parents don't live too far away from us, and they have land. But one thing to think about, if you got livestock and you need more land to graze, maybe you can talk to your neighbors. If they have a lot more land than you do, or the same, but they don't have animals on it, maybe you can work an agreement out of having your animals kind of graze on their property, kind of have some mutual agreement with that. Something to consider somewhat like that, because then now you're opening your property up a little bit more, and you're getting more grass and more acorns and stuff like that for your animals to eat, more wildlife and things like that. So maybe consider that. That's something that we thought about doing also, is just kind of using other properties if it's close by. Clearly you can't go extremely far, but if you have neighbors with a little bit more land than you do, maybe you can work something out to where they can graze on that. That's a good thing to consider. So guys, that's kind of going to wrap up today's video. Just kind of give you just a little bit of ideas that we had. Maybe that might help y'all out. And if you have any ideas of what you do, put it down in the comments. That may give us some ideas, because I don't think of everything. We're not experts or anything like that. So if you got a pretty good idea that may help us on our property, we have 10 acres, half woods, half pasture, kind of what y'all would do. And this may help a lot of people in the comments too, just to give them some ideas and everything like that. So y'all, before we get off here, I just wanted to update y'all on my family. They're all doing very well. If you saw our previous video, a lot of them got COVID, and they're all coming out of it. They're pretty much almost kind of healed up. There's still a little bit of minor things, but They didn't have to go to the hospital, and we really do appreciate all the comments and prayers that we got. It was really uplifting, and that's exactly kind of what, you know, I wanted. And I know a lot of the comments helped other people, and so we just really do appreciate just all the encouragement and, like I said, the prayers, and just knowing that, you know, y'all out there, you know, care about us and everything like that, and we care about y'all as well. And so we just really do appreciate of all the support. It's just kind of crazy how YouTube and everything works, and just how much of a support system we really do have here. And that video really showed me that. And so I just wanted to say thank y'all for sending out the prayers. Family's doing well, and we'll probably be having, you know, kind of our Christmas little gift exchange here pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. But we appreciate it. But guys, if you really like this video, hit the like button. Like I said, comments, put them down in there. Subscribe to our channel if you like content like this. You know, farming, you know, homesteading. We're clearing a lot of land, you know, sawing up some lumber to do some projects. We got projects coming up here real soon, so stay tuned for that type of stuff. And I do have a little bit of a tip for y'all. If y'all are clearing land, I kind of made a mistake just here. If you kind of pan over, Alex, my four-wheeler is on this side of the trees, and the trail is right there. That's where I have to go. There's not really another trail around, so I should have put the four-wheeler on the other side. Now I'm going to have to cut my way through these trees to get the four-wheeler out, so just a little bit of a thing. It's kind of funny, but just got a little bit more work to do. So y'all, we really hope you enjoyed the video. As always, take care and God bless.